Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 53 of the video series in which we program an entire video game from scratch, from beginning to end, in the C programming language. It's been far too long since we had one of these videos. Hope everything has been going okay for you. Before we start, we are going to do the usual thing where we address some of the comments that I received since last time. First comment says, "Hello Ryan, thanks for answering questions posted on videos. I was wondering if your browser supports WAV files. My Chrome and Edge cannot play the WAV file and I must use Audacity." I said that because when I try to open your WAV files via GitHub, the browser load indefinitely. Okay, so the answer is don't do that. Don't do that. Let's go to the repo. What he is talking about is whenever he browses to GitHub and you find one of these WAV files, like right here, you're not supposed to play these from within your browser. So you can download it, download it, and then yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this media player. I didn't even know that there was a media player here, but it's obvious that it's broken. So I don't know what this is. Is this something that GitHub does, or is it something that the browser does? Whatever it is doesn't work. So just don't. Oh, that's super annoying. So whenever you hit download, I really feel like it should download the file to your computer. When you hit download, it ought to download the file to your computer, but it doesn't. And that's super annoying, and it's broken on top of that. So what? How about this? Just right click on this download button and do save link as. Yeah, there you go. Now we can save the WAV file in my downloads folder. And now let's open it up. Yeah. Works fine that way. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why that thing is showing like that in the browser. It's obviously broken, whatever it is. So we just can't use it. Next question. In the menu struct, menu item ** items is an array of pointers, hence GMI _ title screen items. Is it the same as address of GMI _ title screen items 0? Yeah, probably. Let me go and test that theory by let's just set a breakpoint somewhere. We'll load the game. Let's go to our watch window. And he wants to know, is GMI title screen items, is that right there? Is it the same as GMI, or sorry, the address of GMI title screen items index of 0? Okay, so I don't think I really understood what you were asking, but once I start thinking about it, I think what you're asking is, look, this is a menu. This is your data structure for a menu, and it contains a pointer to a pointer to some menu items. This is a collection of menu items, a collection or an array, whatever you want to call it. Yes, so the items member of the menu data structure is an array of menu items. Title screen.c. Right? So each menu is a collection of menu items. So we define all the menu items. And then we make a pointer to an array of menu items, supplying each one of the individual menu items here, and the address of it, right? Or a pointer to it, I guess you could say. And then we make a menu which contains a name, a selected index, the number of menu items that it contains, and then the array of menu items. So I'm not sure if I'm telling you what you want to know or not. But if it's still not clear, I will try to spend some more time understanding your question. Next question says, sorry to bother, but I don't understand very well the purpose of this line. G performance data dot total frames rendered greater than last frame seen plus one. Okay, so in almost every game state we have this, and if I haven't documented it, this is probably why it didn't come naturally to you. I should have documented it. Yeah, so in every game state we have this block right here. The purpose of this if block right here is simply to say that if we're in this game state and then we leave this game state and then we come back to this game state at a later time, this block of code will be triggered, because last frame seen, it only counts up as I'm in this game state. This game state is the new game, are you sure screen. As long as I'm sitting at that screen, then the last frame seen, it increments, it goes up, it counts up 60 frames a second. However, this right here, total frames rendered, counts up 60 frames a second continuously, regardless of what game state I'm in. So if I come back to this game state and I see that this number of global total frames rendered, if I see that that is greater than the last frame seen, that means that this basically this game state has been re-entered, either entered for the first time or it's been exited and then re-entered again. A perfect example would be, like, imagine you're sitting at the title screen and then you go to the options screen, and then from the options screen you go back to the title screen again. That's the perfect example. When you get here, I basically want to reset all of my local state in here. And by what I mean by that is, like, I want to reset any sort of like fade in animations. I want to reset like the menu item that is selected. I want to reset that to the beginning, or where whatever it should start on instead of wherever you left it. I want to reset everything that is local to this particular game state. And the reason why is because imagine, if you will, using our title screen, going to the option screen, and then from the option screen I go back to the title screen. When I go back to the title screen, I want that text to fade in from black again, just like it did when I first when I saw the title screen the first time, right? And I want that to keep happening regardless of how many times I leave and come back to the title screen. And the same thing goes for just about every game state that we have. So I guess I will take the time to comment this now. That means we have either just entered this game state for the first time, or we have left this game state previously and have just come back to it. For example, we may have gone from the title screen to the options screen and then back to the title screen again. In that case, we want to reset all of the local state. That is, things that are local to this game state, such as text animation, menu, selected menu item, etc. Are we happy with that explanation? I think so. Does it apply to splash screen? Yeah, it does. And I'm just going along adding it to every game state because I never want you to ask me this question again. Okay. I guess that's it. All right, next question. I followed your steps in your video, and when I run the program, there are no errors whatsoever during compiling. However, after I choose my character name, when the overworld map loaded, there is not a portal block. I think the new overworld map isn't loaded properly, but I'm not sure, so I decided to copy and paste the GitHub repo because I thought I made some mistakes, but that's not the problem. Can someone help me, please? I think what you need is, if you let's go back to GitHub. And if you go down here and you read build instructions, it will tell you that there is a copy assets.bat file. So one thing you need to know is that I don't keep the assets.dat file in the GitHub repository up to date. So you have to build this file yourself. You build it by running this copy assets.bat file, and that is my guess as to what I think has gone wrong for you. you need to run this copy assets.batch file. When you run that, it will rebuild the assets file for you using all of the most up-to-date stuff in the assets folder. And then when you run your game, everything ought to be there. All right, next question. How do you get rid of the error MSB3073, the command exited with code 9009? I followed the video exactly. Okay. You are experiencing something that I myself experienced. He's talking about, remember when we used to be doing this post-build event stuff? Yeah, we had a post-build event there, and I used to call the copy assets.batch file from here post-build event, so it would happen that batch file would get run every single time I compiled the game, but that's no longer necessary, so I took it out. Before then, I was experiencing similar problems, and it's really finicky. I think it has to do with I guess, I don't know, what's 9009? Yeah, error code 9009 means file not found. So it's probably, if you go to, it's probably because it's running this batch file. Visual Studio is running this batch file here, copy assets.bat, and in here, notice I'm just using like, do I have this executable here? Do I have that file there? And is this relative path name valid depending on what? I don't know what my current working directory is like in Visual Studio. So it might actually behoove you, if you really want to get this working, to convert all these to fully qualified path names, or to make a environment variable. I remember a long time ago when we started, we were using an environment variable just for that exact reason. So yeah, I would try just try converting all of this stuff to fully qualified path names, because I think the error is file not found, so it's probably an issue with the current working directory of Visual Studio, would be my guess. If all else fails, you can open up Process Monitor and look at the current working directory of Visual Studio. That might give you a clue. Yeah. Next question. All right, that is pretty much it for the questions. The only other comment was about MSys2, which there have been a couple of viewers that have been wanting me to replace Visual Studio with other things, and I'm still on the fence about it. So be patient, because I still might do it. I know I have a lot of issues with Visual Studio, especially the IntelliSense. And I know to replace Visual Studio entirely, I would need I would need a debugger, and I could go and buy like Remedy BG, but that costs like $20. And although that's not that much money, but it's more than free. And I know that I have a lot of people watching this channel who would have a harder time justifying that $20 purchase than me. So it may be actually better for my viewers for me to stick with Visual Studio, because this Visual Studio Community Edition is free. even though me personally, I might like it better if I went and invested a whole bunch of time and money into, like, Remedy BG and 4Coder and whatever else. But those things cost money, and MSys 2, I guess, is just a, I'm not. I mean, it doesn't have a debugger. It doesn't come with a debugger, right? It's just like it's an editor basically, as far as I know. Anyway, all right. All right, so that does it for the questions. So let's go ahead and continue where we left off. Where did we leave off? I've got all this stuff open and I don't want to be open over here. Overworld, yes. I remember that so we had this issue where the music, we had an issue with the music. That's what it was. And I'll just show you what this issue, I'll demonstrate what this issue was. Let me turn my speakers back on. Let's just build the game. Okay, when I start the game, the music starts playing, and then when I hit escape, I should return to the main menu. And when I return to the main menu, I want the music to stop, but then when I hit resume, I want the music to pick up again where it left off. And currently, it does not do that. And the reason it does not do that is because if you go to overworld.c, we go down to right here at local frame counter 60, I start playing the music, but only if music is playing equals false. Then I'll start playing the music again. Problem is that if the music is paused, let me go to music is playing. In music is playing, I simply am looking at buffers queued. And the problem is that if the music is paused, it still has the source voice, the X Audio 2 source voice, still has a buffer queued even when the music is paused. So I'm returning true for music is playing, even though the music is not actually playing, it's just paused. So I did some research on this, and I don't think that X Audio 2 actually has a way to tell you if the current voice is paused, which sounds so crazy to me that I'm probably wrong. If you know of a way, please let me know, but I do not know of a way. So we're going to have to do that ourselves. And the way we're going to do that is if we go to main.h, right there. Let's go to the definition of game sound. It is a data structure called game sound right here. So I don't think there's a way to tell whether a game sound is paused or not, so I guess we'll just put an extra member in there called paused. It's a Boolean value, yes or no, true or false. Okay. So now if I do music is playing, I only want to return true if buffers queued is greater than 0 and oh no it's not going to work either. Actually, maybe oh, okay, wait, maybe, okay, maybe. Yeah, still not going to work. See, that is a pointer. That is a pointer to that. Okay, I can't think of any way that putting a paused member in here is going to help me. And so I'm going to do something that I was hoping that I wouldn't have to do. I think I'm going to make a global variable for it. And I'm going to put it right about here, I guess. Music is on. Music is paused. Okay. And so now I go here and I go to pause music. G music paused equals true. And then I go to, let's see, stop music, play game sound. Stop music. Music paused equals false. Now, in music is playing, I will return true only if buffers queued greater than 0 and music is paused equals false. Wait. If music is on pause, then it's not playing. Right? Play game music. This needs to be false. Okay. Start a new game. Music starts playing. It's on pause. Now if I resume, okay, it starts back over from the beginning, which isn't what I expected to happen. Overworld, PPI overworld, pause music. When I hit escape in the overworld, it's supposed to take me back to the title screen and pause the music. Why is this happening? It says current cursor position preserved. Oh, I know. Okay, so in play game music, I know what I'm doing wrong. In play game music, this stuff only needs to take place if the music needs to play from the beginning, then do all this kind of stuff, right? Else music is paused, it means we need to simply just start it, right? And I guess in either case, we're going to do music is paused equals false. Okay, I think that's right. There we go, finally. I like that. All right, that is good. That means... Okay, so what that means now that we have pausing our music and resuming our music working, at least I think the way that we want it to, I think now is probably the right time to introduce our second music track, which is this dungeon01.ogg. This is the music that will play when we are in like a dungeon or a cave or some sort of dangerous place, right? Where monster encounters, dangerous monsters are lurking. So if I double click on it, you can see what it sounds like. It sounds like dungeon music. Again, the music was written for me by Nocturnal Plant, and now we're going to use it in our game. So let me go back to game B. First thing I'm going to do is edit copy assets.bat. I'm going to add, there we go. I'm going to add it to the file, to the assets file, like so. There we go. Should be fine. If something does go wrong, you can look at this log file. Looks like everything worked fine. Okay, now back to our code. Main.h, game sound, G music overworld. I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to call it game sound G music dungeon 01. Cool. And then in main.c, I'm going to go back to asset loading thread, I believe. And I'm going to find an appropriate place to load. Looks like this will do right here. I'm going to load this in our asset loading thread, just like everything else. Load asset from archive, dungeon01.og, and it's going to store it in gmusic dungeon01. Okay, that should do. Okay, now this is where things are going to get interesting. When I look at my overworld map of the entire world, okay, enough with the updates. Every time I open this, when I go and I enter this portal right here, it teleports me all the way over here, right? Well, I want the dungeon music to play when that happens. So maybe I put something to where, like, somehow the game needs to know that when I'm in this area, the music that needs to be playing needs to be the dungeon music. That is the problem I'm trying to solve right now. And of course, I have to upgrade paint.net because every time I launch it, it needs an update, which I shouldn't complain about. You know, I'm glad he keeps the software up to date. It's a good thing. I'm not complaining. Thank you for keeping paint.net up to date. It's very good software. All right, so I feel like maybe if I go to portal handler, okay. I remember a few episodes ago I was toying with this idea. See, I have a portal, and I'm using these portal data structures to decide where the portal is going to take you. And then it has a destination area. Which area does the portal take you to? I think I want to update this from being just a rectangle to being a game area. which is going to be some work. There's going to be some work. I just wanted to make sure that no one was actually using that game area data structure. Alright, so I think I'm going to put this in game sound. I guess I'll put it with, I've got this game everything else, right? Game input, game bitmap, game sound. So I might as well put game area right here. This is a rectangular subsection of our entire overworld. Might be a town or a dungeon or a cave or whatever. And I think it needs to have a pointer to a game sound, because I don't want to make a copy of, the game sound. I just want a pointer to it, right? Rectangle, name. Okay, that makes sense. So now I go here to main.c, I go to initialize globals. That's where I start to initialize all this stuff. Now my G Dungeon 01 area is that right there. So what if I do overworld dungeon area? Alright, I'm going to change this to a game area. Okay. Now I'm going to go back over here and try to initialize it. Game area. And the area is a rectangle, right? Actually, let's do name first. Name equals dungeon number 1, dungeon 01. Area equals this rectangle right here. And the music is G music dungeon 01. Or I should say the address of G music dungeon 01. Okay. This all lined up properly. There. Now we need to do the same with G overworld area, which becomes a game area. And current area becomes a game area. Okay. Name equals this is another problem I don't like, because I could just call this, the world, but that kind of limits me, because what I actually want to do is I want to have different parts of the world where, like, this area of the world is called, like, some fantasy name, and then, like, when you go over here, it's some other continent or some other island. It's called something else. And then over here in this area, it's called something else, Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to have to think about that. I guess we'll just tackle one problem at a time, though. Okay. Dot area equals this. And dot music equals G music for one curly brace. There we go. Right. Okay. So I think that is good now. But I need to go back to, there we go. Current area dot area dot right. I'm glad I just remember this, because IntelliSense is certainly of no help. G current area dot bottom. Oh, I think it finally caught up. That's nice. Current area dot left. Area dot right. Area dot top. Okay. G current area dot area equals okay. So now we need to go here, and I think this probably needs to be a pointer to a game area. Okay. This is back in my portal handler, and now G current area goes to game area. Game area, destination area. there. I think that is sufficient. Oh, I need. Let me go ahead and fix this. This random monster encounter BS. We go to main.h. Let's go to our hero, our player, data structure, hero, right here. All right, we're going to do. We are going to do uint 8 random encounter percentage. And let me document this or comment this. 90 equals 10% chance, 80 equals 20% chance, etc. Back to main.c, back to initialize hero. gplayer dot random encounter percentage equals 90. 90 equals 10% chance. 80 equals 20% chance, etc. Okay, and back here, we're going to do this. If random is greater than or equal to gplayer dot random encounter percentage, then we do a random monster encounter. Okay, now back to the task at hand. This game area stuff. Overworld. So we need to go all the way back to like draw overworld. There we go. I think I'm going to swap this out for play game music G current area music. Okay. In our portal handler, when we hit a portal, in our portal handler, we need to stop the music. Stop music, and that's it. Just stop whatever's playing. And I think that will work. Cross your fingers. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. So the idea is that when I step into the portal and into that little room, I want the dungeon music to start playing. And then when I step back out of the room and back out into the open world, I want the open world music to start playing again. And again, disregard those green screens. Those are random monster encounters, and we will fix those really soon. Well, that's too many monster encounters. I'm going to have to make a monster encounter grace period, I think, of like, you have to have taken this many steps since your last monster encounter before you can encounter another monster. But on the good side, on the positive side, it would appear that switching music works perfectly. Now, what if I hit escape right now and go back to the menu, pause the music, resume the music? Is it going to work? I'm in the menus. Now hit resume. It resumed where it left off. Well, that's pretty sweet. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, that actually worked pretty well. And I guess that's all we have time for today. So I think it's closing in on an hour. So, all right, I'm glad we at least got something done. Um, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this type of content and you want to continue seeing me develop this game, please hit like on the video and hit subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. You can also find me on Twitter if you want to talk to me there. If you have any comments or questions, please leave any comments or questions that you may have on the video. It can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about the current episode. It can be about any previous episode. I will address any interesting questions and or comments in an upcoming episode. Lastly, don't forget that we have a GitHub repository that I keep updated alongside these episodes so that you can clone the GitHub repository and follow along at home yourself. So until then, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in a few days. Thank you, and goodbye.